Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today we have a strap review for you from Mora Straps. This is a new company that was actually established just in 2019, so this year I'm filming this. They really are just on a mission to provide premium NATO style straps of the highest quality. And I'll just leave it at that. I mean, the highest quality. So as far as styles go, I mean, that's preferential. But as far as like the quality goes and anything from an objective nature, these guys, they're not messing around. I was very pleasantly surprised and quite impressed with these straps. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of premium NATO straps and that whole market space, because honestly you can get something that's at a luxury level for not that much money, because at the end of the day it's a nylon strap. So even like the great, as long as it's like not of course mainstream branded like an Omega strap or something like that, you can get a really nice strap of a really top tier quality to a luxury standard for 50 bucks, 40, 30, even less. These are actually only $32, and I'm pretty blown away with the quality that you're gonna get here. They pretty much have like the most robust 316L stainless steel hardware I've seen, and it's of course very proportional to the nylon straps themselves. Really tightly woven nylon there that you'll see, that we'll really get into once we get these kind of in hand and on wrist. Everything is solid, even the keepers themselves are fully milled versus kind of a folded piece. And then the buckles, they don't use spring bars. These are like legitimate NATO, so there's no point of failure that's being opened there. These are kind of sewn in and very just extremely solid. So I'm very impressed. So let's go ahead and take, before we take a closer look, the Ticino Sea Viper, I thought I'd bring that along to throw onto these, because one, it's made pretty much to go on NATO straps. It looks great, and these are some pretty classic choices that they're starting off with. Of course, they do plan to release other colorways as they go, but this is a very classic setup, and in the spirit of kind of the Bond inspiration there on those patterns, figure get the big crown going. Big crown homage going. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a closer look. Alrighty, so the cool thing about these is they are offered in both 20mm and 22mm width options. They are, let's go ahead and get the gray model here. They're actually 1.2mm thick, or you could call that thin if you'd like. Super pliable. Man, these things feel very plush. And basically the trouble you won't run into with nylon straps is when they're so plush, sometimes they feel a bit fuzzy and loose. Somehow these are really tight. This weave here, as you can see, is extremely tight, but the weight on it is just perfect. And even here you can see it is actually a dual pass, and so it's not a single pass, but look how thin that is. It just bites down and lays extremely flat. I'm very impressed with the nylon choices here, but then you get to something like the hardware, and look how thick these are. It's insane. And then of course there's no spring bar here, so there's no point of failure. The only thing that's not a super chunky milled piece is this, because this has to be bent essentially to go around the bar that goes through here, because this is all solid. So super tough. And then you got the sliding keeper as well, and again, these are not folded. It's fully milled. A lot of other premium NATOs, you'll find this is actually a folded piece. Here, fully milled, absolutely gorgeous, and finished really well. And these are super long. These are 330 millimeters in length, so about 13 inches. So these will give you enough length to where you can fold the tongue back under, and it's just perfect. I just love that. So that's a really close look at this gray here. It's more of a bright silvery gray. It's a very pure gray. It's not going to have any blue tones or something like an Admiralty gray would. So this is going to be a pretty versatile color. Of course, the black, as you can see, not to mention, this is signed Mora, and then you can actually get a good look at the comparison between high polished and brushed Both look very premium. Sometimes you end up, it's one or the other, I feel like. Sometimes, depending on what choice you make, will make it look more or less premium. Here, both both the high polish looks really good, especially because of the blockiness and chunkiness of these particular milled keepers and everything, and the hardware. But the brushing also looks great because it's just finely done. It's a really nice, you can see the matted haze, but it's actually quite uniform. If you look at the way the light plays off of this brushing, the way the light transitions from dark and the reflection to quite bright, it's just really, really beautiful. So, you know, again, and the nice thing is all of the weaves here are all identical. It's really just the patterns where you're going to get your main differences. So actually, so you can read the names there, we can get a comparison, kind of modern bond versus classic bond looks there. Really gorgeous. Everything, of course, is heat sealed. The weaves are just outstanding. The stitching also super uniform, super tight. Really nice. So let's actually get this little big crown. If you guys haven't seen this, watch on my channel. It's probably an older review. It's been quite a while since I've reviewed this one, but as you can see, it is just made. It does come actually with a pretty solid oyster style bracelet, but you know, I think big crowns just work really well on the old vintage style NATOs, because it's just a great look. And when I'm centering these, I don't actually, just so you guys know, I don't center it in between the two keepers here. What I'll do is I take into consideration of when it's on the wrist and when I fold it. And as you can see, I probably need to scoot this a little bit higher up on the watch head. Oh, well, actually, that's pretty close. That is pretty darn close. So maybe I'll go up just a hair and put it back down like that. So, man, look at that. That red triangle pip looks really great. Of course, unfortunately, it's a little warm here, so getting a little smudgy. Let me wipe those off there so you guys can get a nice look at that high polish. Quite impressive. You know what? I'll even wipe off the little smudges on the keepers and whatnot so you can get a nice look in all of its glory. Now that is pretty chic. Everything comes together, man. That is a great looking combo. And as you can see, even though this has quite a bit of a bubble back on there, look at, you're barely getting any, like the material underneath isn't that much. So, and you guys will really notice that when I actually get it on wrist here and tighten everything down. Great amount of holes, and they're close enough to where you can really dial it in. And then what you do is you feed it through, and of course this one is a sliding keeper, so what I'll do from there is slide this back in, and boom, it's locked down. So this is probably a little bit looser than I would normally wear, but honestly, these straps aren't broken in. As you can see, they're pretty much straight out of the bag. Actually, let me mention the bag. This is what these come in. And they weren't all shoved in one. They come individually packaged in. These are really cool cotton bags, which I think is great. And they basically, you know, they make an effort not to be wasteful, and I think that's awesome. And the nice thing is these are actually pretty useful. As you can see, the inside is actually super plush. I mean, this is, you can just wipe down, you can polish with the inside of this bag. That is how nice, soft, and supple that is. So this is really cool. Like, you can actually store them in here. You can put a watch in here, or multiple watches. Of course, if you could buy 4 NATOs, you can put them all in, you know, you can put a watch head on and have it sink to the bottom, cinch it down. I thought that was really, really cool. So definitely a big selling point for me anyway, which I don't think was very highly advertised on their website, but definitely well done there. So loving this kind of classic Bond look on the vintage big crown You know, of course, everything is paying homage. None of this is vintage, but you know what? The nice thing is, it's something you can wear and not worry about, right? It's not an heirloom. It's just a fun piece that it gives a bit of heritage and a nod, right? So that somebody who sees this, they're not just thinking like, oh, this is just some fashion watch that somebody got. Like, whoever is gonna wear something like this in this setup clearly is a James Bond fan and a watch enthusiast, which I think is really cool. So let's actually see how this looks on a couple of these other straps here, because we are highlighting the straps. So we'll run this through. What do you guys think? We'll go another pattern one, maybe hit up the modern Bond, see how that looks. I think this is nice. And then also this one actually has the brushed finish on the hardware, so it will give you another kind of feel and vibe and look to it. And oh man, look, this is just, whoo, this one is just like really like down to business now. As you can see, that is, oh man, that looks mean. This is something that you could definitely wear in a formal situation almost, I feel like, because it looks just strong, masculine, loving the colors, the way everything just kind of plays off of itself. You know, with the matte dial there, it actually has hints of kind of a gray, and then you get that nice dark gray here on the striping, definitely reminiscent of the more modern kind of Spectre Bond style there. I can even go a little bit tighter. Yeah, that's plenty fine. And then what I can do is I just run it back through, hook it again, push it through. Try to do this on camera for you guys. Of course, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than the comfort of your own home when you guys are popping a NATO on, but man, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. And then you do have the Mora signature. It just shows a nice bit of, you know, pride in their product, I think. So I'm not mad at that at all there. Really cool. I think what they're delivering is something really just impressive. And at the pricing, I mean, I could easily see these as NATO straps that would cost, you know, 40, 50 bucks, and they're selling them for $32. They come in these sweet bags, which I think is awesome. They offer them in pretty much what they don't have yet, I'm sure they will be like a navy blue option, and I think that they'll pretty much have every base NATO that you can have in a collection, and I don't really see, you know, a lot of NATO standing up against these, because this will replace probably any other NATO in the same colorway. If you're, of course, you're willing to spend some people only want to spend $15 on a NATO, but if you're willing to spend 32 bucks, man, you can get something really, really special. And then again, this is not an expensive watch, but man, does that look like $1 million there. So really cool. I mean, of course, now that you've seen it on black and gray, it's probably not super necessary that you guys see it on the black or the gray, because you kind of can get an idea there. Of course, very simple black, very nice. The gray, I would love to throw a blue dial watch on this gray, because I think it'll really, really pop. Maybe my blue Alpinist would look really amazing on there, or my Zen 556 IB for the blue dial model. I think that would also look great. Definitely keep an eye on my Instagram, because I'm like 1,000% sure I'm going to be trying this particular gray NATO. I love gray NATOs out, you know, on a couple different configurations, because this thing is just strong. I'm loving it. And then of course I did get it with the brushed finish, quite versatile. But I mean, this polished finish is impressive, guys. Look at the sheen on this. I mean, I'm not saying it's Swiss black polish level, or, you know, or it's not Zaratsu or anything like that, but man, there is a luster that you can see here in this level of polishing on this hardware that you just don't see every day on a simple nylon strap. And again, look how thin this is. I'm just loving it. It's thin, it's supple, and it's super tightly woven. I mean, I feel like it's just doing everything that you want, and it's let go of a lot of the things that you don't want. So really, really cool. I mean, this could be fighting for that top spot as we're classic NATOs anyway. Of course, I have some favorites that have kind of reinvented the NATO game, the nylon strap game. But as far as like the classic NATO, this is pretty close to perfection, guys. I'm not sure that there's anything that's out there on the market that gets this close to really just being absolutely a perfect premium NATO strap, traditional NATO strap, of course with the exception of the sliding keeper, but I think that just adds to its charm. But the fact that it's a double pass, not a single pass setup, the fact that it's longer versus some of the more compact, shorter straps now where they don't really offer anything to fold back into, they just have a little bit of tongue that'll hang out on one end, and it's almost like wearing a two-piece strap that just slides through a single pass. Now this is a very classic NATO setup, really harkening back to the original NATO straps. So with that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked the video, please do hit like. If you guys are impressed with these, you have any questions, thoughts, definitely let me know what you guys are thinking. And yeah, I don't think they make this Ticino Big Crown anymore, so don't ask me for a link to where you can buy it. It's because I don't think they make it. But I'm glad that I picked one up when I did, because it came in handy for this awesome review. So let me know what you guys think again, and thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, please do hit like. It helps the channel. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. See ya.